What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz34. Welcome to the Saturday night stream. Today we are going to be talking concerts that are actually going to happen in 2021, concerts that will be moved or delayed or are to be determined in 2021, 2022. We're going to go over Dave Matthews Band Everyday 20th anniversary. The 20th anniversary has passed as far as when it came out, but it's been 20 years since the release of Every Day. And we're going to talk about that album and what I think it means to the band. So come on, come one, come all, and welcome to the live stream. Thank you for anyone who checked out the review last night of the Alpine Valley show from July 5th, 2003 that I reviewed. It premiered on Dave Matthews Band Radio, which is on Sirius XM Radio, channel 30. And I gave my thoughts and opinions. Check out that video if you haven't checked it out already. And I'm heartbroken today because UConn Huskies, for the men's side of things, lost. The women still have yet to begin, and I'm going to be pulling for them. And the men's and women's hockey teams are not going to, women's hockey didn't make the tournament. Men's hockey is not going to make the tournament either. So there's one UConn winter sports team left of the major sports. So UConn women, I hope they can get a ring and get that chip. It's been a little bit of time since the last one, and we're used to seeing women's basketball take the W. Also, just a quick shout out to my amazing girlfriend, Olivia, who pulled a splinter out of my index finger right here. Your boy was playing with a street hockey stick, and I'm old school. I get the wooden sticks with the laminate ABS blades, and for some reason, a brand new stick slid up the shaft with my hand with gloves on, and somehow a piece came off in day one of use, and I got a splinter. And my girlfriend Olivia helped pull it out with her tweezers, with precision, and skill. And I hate splinters. I would rather get bruises and gashes on my body than get a splinter. But shout out to Olivia for doing the darn thing and helping a brother out, helping her man out, and getting the splinter out. So again, we're gonna do every day. We'll talk about every day, 20th anniversary, and some concert updates. I'm excited to hopefully get to some concerts as well, which I'll talk about in a moment. And you may have some concerts by you, you may not. Current state of the country, and this is, everyone has their opinions. Even out today in various places, rollerblading, where I got the splinter. Before rollerblading, I was just before roller hockey in the parking lot, just by myself, skating around, stick handling. I was rollerblading through the bike trail, and salute to the bikers, runners, and the walkers of all ages. It's beautiful to see people out and fit. Everyone's different right now. You can tell, you can see, especially some of the elderly community, they seem a lot more relaxed on the trails now. I think some of them got their vaccine and there's some relief. Some people have masks, some people don't. You're going to do what you got to do and do what you feel is right. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but we do have, we're at a crossroads right now in this country as far as live events, right? You have states like Florida, and even some of South Carolina and some of these coastal states, Alabama, right, Gulf Coast. You got some states that are having some serious issues with spring breakers, right? And COVID is on the rise, and a lot of it doesn't linger in these spots. It goes back to wherever these travelers go back to, right? Because the thing is, and this is what you got to think about with Florida. And if DMB Mamas is watching this, shout out to DMB Mamas. Most people in Florida, they don't go to Miami Beach, right? Like my cousin lives in the Homestead, Florida, and when I went to visit her a couple years ago, she's like, "Yeah, we don't like." They'll go to downtown Miami to hang out because Miami Beach is like Times Square in New York City. If you're a local New Yorker, or even like me, I'm a tri-state area resident, meaning Connecticut and Jersey. We have easy access into New York. We don't. No one goes to Times Square, right? Unless you're trying to propose to your girl, right? Or you're on some flash mob. We don't go to Times Square. We go to where we go to visit our buddies in Astoria or Brooklyn or somewhere where they live, or we go to an event, right? We go to MSG. You have to go to Times Square, but we don't chill in Times Square. So, a lot of this COVID stuff is people that are coming in and coming out and they bring it back to their local city. Most people in Florida that live in Florida they have their own beaches, right? They don't go to Miami Beach. There's plenty of other beaches and keys and different spots that aren't as popping to tourists that the locals know about. And the locals also don't necessarily need to go to the beach. They're so close to the beach. Just the idea it's there is good enough. I say all that to say that this impacts how things are going to be for concerts. When you have now, this happens every spring break in Miami and Virginia Beach, where I have family down in the Tidewater portion of Virginia for Virginia Beach. Shout out to the 757. A dad was born in Portsmouth, Virginia, and got family throughout Portsmouth, Chesapeake. There is every year there's always issues with people coming in, but especially with COVID, the crowd control is a big concern. And think about that for sold out concerts, right? The crowds that are coming into towns right now for spring break are a problem for our law enforcement and other administrators in these towns and cities like Miami Beach, which is shutting down its bridges temporarily for people to be able to, they can't enter into Miami Beach. Those who are there in Miami Beach are under a kind of a curfew, and it's locked. Certain restrictions are going to apply for those who maybe booked hotels are already there, but they're shutting down a lot of the major bridges and trying to control people from coming in just to party because of the crowd. So I say all that to say that when these issues occur and when cases come to the rise, a sold out show with a GA pit, with the 30,000 or 20,000 or 15,000 or 5,000 person lawn is not feasible. And I say all that because we have a lot of shows like the Dave Matthews Band shows. The idea is right now they are sold for full capacity, right? And when you have stuff going on in other towns and cities that are opened up and they're having population control, these are things that are going to make large scale events limited, right? Your mid-tier band of 2,000 people, there's no issue with them performing in Florida if they want to, because that's 1 to 2,000 people. When you start talking 20,000, 30,000 people that are trying to come out to some of these major venues across the country, that's a crowd control issue for a city that may have to use resources elsewhere due to the other issues with this pandemic. And even if everyone is vaccinated, there still are going to be people that decide not to get this vaccine. Herd immunity is not expected till 2021. And I say all this not to beat a dead horse, but to say this thing is far from over as far as large gatherings at 100%. And what we're seeing here is we are seeing an adjustment and a change to certain things that are going on. So Summerfest, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at I don't know if it's still called the Marcus Amphitheater, but we are seeing that Summerfest is being moved to September 2021. And well, it was moved there, but it's still to be determined. I don't know if it's still going to happen the way it's sold. So are they going to have a crowd by then? Who knows? Summer Camp. This is a festival just outside of Chicago, Illinois. Humphreys, McGee, Mo, some other jam bands in that mid-tier level. 3-6 Mafia is supposed to be at Summer Camp, which is pretty dope. Because usually it's more of a jam band thing, but to have that legendary Southern hip hop group is a pretty cool little add to the diversity of the lineup. That's being moved to August 20th to the 22nd in Illinois. New Orleans Jazz Fest usually takes place in the spring, being moved to October 8th through the 17th, 2021. That's a multiple week festival being moved to October. And in New Orleans, FYI, New Orleans has some issues with people not wanting the shot as, I mean, Louisiana in general, they're letting people just pull up, right? Hey, whatever your age, we're trying to give these joints away. And again, that's another thing. Yes, you're going to have travel, but, you know, they may still have that festival, but, how much of the population is going to be vaccinated and how much is going to go would be interesting to see. But October 8th through the 17th of 2021, Coachella. This is a big move, and this is what you got to pay attention to. Coachella being moved from 2021 at fall of 2021 to 2022. Coachella, one of the big festivals out there in Indio, California. The weeks after Coachella, Stagecoach is a country music Coachella, pretty much same idea, same location on the Polo Grounds out there in Indio, and they're being moved to 2022. It's expected they're going to be moved there. There's still no confirmation. Lollapalooza in Chirac, Chicago, Illinois. No update, just the 2020 lineup. That's all you see on the page. So you have these festivals that are moving to the fall. More festivals have just been, the ones I just went over. A lot of this stuff just happened in the last week. And this is where I just don't believe we are having 100% capacity shows until at least September, as far as full-fledged tours. I don't see that. I don't see Live Nation doing that. And again, keep in mind, a state can be open, but Live Nation calls the shots. Disney World, and to me, this is outrageous. Just to give you some background, Disney World has been open. They taking that money, right? But Disney World has rules against yelling on roller coasters right now. You cannot yell on a roller coaster. Now, how they're enforcing that, I have no idea. But just keep in mind that even if a state is open, Live Nation, Ticketmaster, the conglomerate is going to have their own policies, and I don't see them having pits. I don't see them having 100% capacity. And that is an issue for the shows that were sold in 2020 before the pandemic or right during it popping up and being a reality in America, with the idea that you're going to have 100% capacity. So I really don't. I don't see large scale tours for the summer of 2021. Even if everyone was vaccinated tomorrow, it's not looking good. They're moving the festivals to the fall. And what's interesting is the festivals will. One of the pros about festivals is when you have a summer camp, there's a festival I went over a couple weeks ago in Alabama. These festivals, one of the benefits they have is all they have to do is go by one state's guidelines. NCAA tournament, where I saw the men's and women's tournaments for basketball are, men are in Indiana, the women are in San Antonio, Texas, and the men are in the greater Indianapolis area, metropolitan area. You have Bloomington, Indiana, and West Lafayette, Indiana. So you have a little bit, like, it's really stretched out, but it's based around the Indianapolis metro. These are all in one state just for ease of business, just for the fact you can have bubbles in certain areas for the next couple of weeks, and then you all meet in San Antonio, Texas, and in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. They can then bring everyone downtown for the final sessions of those men's and women's basketball tournaments. That is easier to do than have a multi-state event with different guidelines. The states want the revenue in the business, so they've come to an agreement with these different, with the NCAA, really. NCAA is based out of Indianapolis, so that, men, it was easy. Than the women, you get to a warmer state like Texas with better restrictions, good for business. That was a pretty good choice for them to be able to run it, because a state like here in Connecticut, the guidelines were uncertain when they were planning this thing for the tournaments, or a state like New York. So you have these tournaments, but it's ease of business. These festivals create ease of business because you know what you're going to expect. A band like Humphreys McGee, when they go to summer camp, they can know that these are the guidelines. This is the one show we're doing. Yes, we may not be able to do our full-fledged tour, but we're going to get a lot of fans, revenue for us They're playing 3 nights. So they're going to get paid for 3 nights of shows in this festival, and it's their home state of Illinois. And Illinois was going to do what they can to get this 20th anniversary of this festival to go on as planned in August. Same thing with Jazz Fest, same thing with Summerfest. Like, if these things go on, you know that you have one state to work with. That's going to be more feasible for the late summer, early fall of 2021 because you have just one set of guidelines. What is difficult is to have a full-fledged, large-scale venue summer tour where you roll into Hartford and you roll into Saratoga Springs, New York, and you have one set of guidelines. You get to Charlotte, North Carolina, it can be different. You get to Virginia Beach, Virginia, and it's completely different. Then you go down to Florida and it's completely different. West Palm Beach. You go down to San Antonio, or not San Antonio. You go down to Houston, or you go at the Woodlands. You go to Jexa Pavilion, whatever it's called in Dallas, and you have different guidelines. That is stressful right now for the planning. I mean, these tours are hard enough to plan. They take people driving cross state lines overnight. They tear down the set and they go right over to the next show to set everything up for sound check the next morning when there's a couple of weekend shows in different towns or cities for a band. So it's a lot. You got to keep that in mind if you're still like, oh no, I'm holding out on, no, they're going to have this tour. It's going to be a lot. So like I said, the festivals have better shots because it's all streamlined to one town, one state. These are the guidelines. The state wants some revenue. They're going to work with this specific event to have the security, to have it all set for this one night. Where having in Hartford, Connecticut, where you have a lawn of 22,000 people, having the Hartford police have to be ready for 5 or 6 or 7 weekend concerts versus one major event like a Summerfest or Summer Camp or New Orleans Jazz Fest. That's easier just to get resources for one weekend. That's why the Super Bowl worked. I know it's the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl worked. It was one weekend. It wasn't like they had 7, 8, 9 weekends of playoffs all in Tampa. No, they had one weekend. It was the big weekend. That's it. But some of these venues, they have large capacities. 20, 30,000 people is a lot of people during COVID to keep track of. It's a harder ask for those, the EMSs, the first responders, and the law enforcement that have to be ready for a concert pre-COVID in many ways that are challenging. But during COVID, it makes it even harder. And especially, people going to these concerts, let's be honest, they're going to drink, they're going to party, they're going to get in fights, right? Outside in the parking lot. Hospitals are already, at certain capacities. Are you going to bring drunk people to a hospital that already has COVID stuff set up? Is it worth it just to work it? Throw it down now, flip it and reverse it. Like, I don't think that's the thing. Now I want to talk about some good news, which is this. The Westville Music Bowl here in New Haven, Connecticut has some shows that are going to be going on. And the good news is there's going to be music here in Connecticut. Government Mule is doing 2 shows here on April 30th and May 1st. So next month, we're going to have live music here in Connecticut in Government Mule at that. We've been blessed to have Warren Haynes and Danny Lewis do a bunch of shows in South Farms, and I believe that's Warren, Connecticut. But it's right outside of Waterbury, Connecticut, which is the closest major city. Beautiful farm. Heartbroken that they can't have the shows out there because of the people, not the farm, who did great things to really help get live music back to Connecticut. But the people voted down having the traffic there, which that's their call. But I think it was the wrong call. But Twilight Concerts Under the Stars, which was how the billing there for the promoters here in Connecticut last year, they've moved to New Haven at the Westville Music Bowl. It's really a tennis court. We used to have a tournament here in I think it's the Pilot Pen or something tournament where you would get it was a professional tennis tournament for men's and women's tennis. They took that venue and they put concerts there. Socially distanced. Government Mule May 1st show's already sold out. I tried to go on the on sale. The pre-sale couldn't get anything decent. On sale sold out. The Friday show still has some tickets in the bleachers, just some minor uppers left. But what we're getting is we're getting 2 nights of Government Mule. Twitter will be there on May 15th, 2021. Mid-tier jam band, mid-tier venue, or like a mid-tier act that's a jam band. Disco Biscuits, same thing. June 4th and June 5th. Pigeons playing ping pong. This is a band that's on the rise. They've been at Lock-In a couple years, and they're starting to get a following. They started in these small festivals. I remember my friends went out to Strange Creek out in Greenfield, Mass, years ago, about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Saw this band. I was like, "What the heck's Pigeons playing ping pong?" They're like, "Yo, this band's dope." They've blown up to that mid-tier level. Tedeschi Drugs Band was supposed to get here. Wheels of Soul, July 17, 2021. That's been postponed. So we'll see what happens with that. But we do have, we have music that's going to come here to Connecticut, your local city. Check to see if there's anything going on. What I love about the promoters here for the shows last year and the shows that are going to be this year, they've done a great job of bringing artists to Connecticut, right? You have a lot of different politics and a lot of different stuff that's making things very hard, but they've done everything possible to keep people safe. Back on South Farms, they did a wonderful job last year, of keeping people well and safe. I went to a show, and I can tell you, as somebody who's lost, not direct family, like my grandfather's brother passed from COVID, and I've seen family friends pass from COVID, that are again more distant. But to understand what's happened and seeing that impact people around me, I'm very wary about this disease. I mean, not disease, this virus. And so, but it's a great balance of keeping people safe at these shows, limiting capacity, but allowing as many fans as safely as possible to come to these shows. Zero tolerance with crossing different lines, not staying in your seats, not staying in your grid. Zero tolerance with kids, but also having a little compassion. There were some kids who were a little loud at one of the shows. The ushers did a great job of controlling that, de-escalating it, telling the parents, "Hey, keep your freaking kids in line so we can listen to Warren Haynes jam out with Danny Lewis." But I think that they've done a spectacular job, and it just goes to show you the great promoters we have here in Connecticut, the great people behind the scenes to keep this moving. They got smacked in the face by the general public of Not in My Yard America here in rural Connecticut at a farm that, by the way, only had about 500 people that could go to a show max, and it was very limited traffic. But the old Not in My Yard guy voted this out in the local town politics, and they find the Westville Music Bowl, which they've had plans here to have stuff, but they found a way to get this to work for us to see live music. And I'll see what maybe I may check out some of these other shows. I've heard Pigeons playing ping pong, never seen them live. I do like some of their stuff. Twiddle, again, I've heard some of these bands, but I'm not diehard. Like, oh, I gotta see this. But I may check out some of this just because it's in town, and I want to support the music like this. These what I call them mid-tier bands. These acts that can sell, maybe 1,000 to 5,000 capacity arenas, theaters and whatever out. I think that's a mid-tier, because there's really just like the large, and there's the mid-tier, and there's just really local bands. But these mid-tier acts, as I call them, I think that they are a very vital part of the music community. They have a niche audience, but they have an audience of people who just love jam music. They love technical music. They love eclectic music of all kinds. And there's some great ideas. There's some great jams. There's some talented artists who, in this mid-tier level, are able to survive and thrive in an era where it's really, again, all or nothing. You have your main amphitheaters, and you have your local musicians. In the mid-tier, it can vary what they'll pull a given night, but his mid-tier acts are talented. Pigeons playing ping pong, Twitter, Humphreys McGee, Tedeschi Trucks Band, which is a little higher up on the tier of mid-tier, closer to higher tier. But still, Marcus King Band. Like, there's some great young bands and slightly older bands that have their niche audience thanks to the internet, thanks to word of mouth, thanks to as we've seen the Grateful Dead and Pearl Jam and many these other bands get older. Some of their fans are supporting this mid tier, and we're seeing them be able to make a living off music and find ways to have content, live streams. You can't make the show. your wife's pregnant, your mom's sick, your dad's sick, and you need to be with them. You can live stream the show at the hospital, caring for your loved one. I love what they've done. Nugs is a big part of that. Some other media advances and technologies has allowed mid-tier bands to share their music live stream wise, and also the audio. You can buy the audio the next day. You don't have to wait at the guy after the show and for the CDs that come out to get that live recording. You can actually get soundboard quality audio from nugs.net, from a lot of these bands. Great partnerships and sponsorships going on. So that is what's going on here in Connecticut. And again, I hope you guys are able to see live music come back to your area in different ways for the mid tier and the local musicians, regional musicians, because I think music of any kind is better than no music at all. Sports is going to be coming back, and that'll be a big barometer for what we can do with concerts, because concerts are different. Sports, you can do it more passively. You don't have to. It's not about the crowd is important, but these things make money off TV. But concerts, it's about the crowd. You don't have 75% of the people in. It's very hard to make a profit. They're doing the best they can to get ways to get mid-tier bands to make profits and break even. But the large scale acts, you don't count on it for 2021. Till the even through the fall and winter, it's highly doubtful we're having 100% capacity shows for those acts. It's just not feasible. So Everyday 21, or sorry, Everyday 20. It's been 20 years since Everyday came out in 2001. This record, right? This record was frowned upon because it really was a record that broke the mold of what the Dave Matthews Band did recording wise. They road tested songs, and yeah, some of these songs had been tested a little before. Every Day was originally number 36, but Every Day, it's been 20 years. And when this, while I wasn't a fan, this was something that fans were like, wait, this is a more pop, mainstream, commercial album, has a little more adult alternative rock vibes in it. And it was, it really was the first album that was not like just a coveted holy grail album, right? Because Under the Table and Dreaming, Crash, Before These Crowded Streets, those are the big three. And then Every Day came, Lily White Sessions were canned. Every Day comes out, and it's like, wait, this is what the space between? This is too main. This sounds like where everything else on the radio. It doesn't sound as unique as it is. What is this rock stuff that the Dave Matthews Band is doing? What I'll say is this: I think this album has aged well, and I think as we look at the current rock that Dave Matthews did in Big Whiskey, Come Tomorrow, Away from the World, I think that this album is actually has some of the tracks that sound the best with this current band, and it's the best way that the Dave Matthews Band should do more of a alternative rock, alternative rock. It just because what it is the music has a mainstream sound. The studio recordings of these songs, they're not like some of the previous studio recordings. They worked with Glenn Ballard. Glenn Ballard did this thing like a pop album. Again, just kind of writing this stuff pretty quickly, getting it in, getting it out, and putting it on the road. But this music has the beauty of this music, it has space. And I always say less is more with the Dave Matthews Band. I love So Right. I love Fool to Think. I love Sleep to Dreamer, If I Had It All. These are songs that could easily go on the, soft rock charts and not be like the typical Dave Matthews Band songs before it. But they do it so well, and it still fits the band so well. And I love the energy. Like What You Are should close out. Like if that could close out more shows, it'd be awesome. Or close out the sets. I would love What You Are to come back. The energy of that song from Carter's Little Shakers and everything. But I love that. So Right. So Right is a song that just you could keep playing the ending. Dun, 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 da, 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 da. They could just play that for 45 minutes and it would just still have energy. They're just, that song leaves you with, you just want to keep hearing it. It's such a great teaser song. Like you want to see season 2 of So Right as it's fading out into the next track. I love that song. And then we have these beautiful, soulful, yet mainstream. Well, no, it's not so mainstream, but these soulful, deep cuts. And that's If I Had It All, which just has an awesome breakdown. It sounds like it could be in a movie. And then Sleep to Dream Her. It's just so beautiful, especially Leroy Moore's saxophone playing and some of the parts, and Dave's acoustic percussive guitar playing after they, when they have these little montage breaks between the lyrics, where Roy is playing and Dave is like, really, you can hear his fingers percussively playing the strings so beautifully. I love that song, Sleep to Dream Her. And if you look at the '01 tour, there's some great cuts of that song. And I think that when I look back at every day, I look back and say, you know what? This was an album that was made for, this is how the current band is set up. And I think again, more of it should be played with this current band. I like the rock from this, the way the rock is set up in everyday songs. I like it better than the way it's set up for Big Whiskey and for Away from the World and Come Tomorrow. Some of that rock is too wall of sound loud and not about the space, not about the energy. And even Tim on a So Right, it's just such a great song. A Fool to Think he's able to play more of that prog rock type off tempo, da 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 da, and it sounds great. And even his palm muting and the, during the chorus and all that stuff, it fits perfectly with this band. I think Every Day fits this current band the best. And I think 20 years later, I hope that more fans understand the greatness. What will we think of Come Tomorrow when it hits 20? I have no idea, but I just think that Every Day, it has it, at the time I can understand why people were like, bro, what is going on? But when we look at what we have now, the last couple albums, I'll take a What You Are, Fool to Think, Sleep to Dreamer over a lot of the stuff post Every Day. Because when you get into stand up, it's a mixed bag, and a lot of it is trash live, in my opinion. Still an album that, stand up in other people's catalog would be a good cut, but for the Dave Matthews Band, it wasn't a good cut. And then Big Whiskey is a great album. It's a great studio album. To me, I don't need that type of playing at a Dave Matthews Band show. Away from the World, great studio album. Um, Difficulties translating it live, but it has gotten better with time. And then Come Tomorrow, some of the best songs from Come Tomorrow aren't played live, and the songs that I think are subpar live are played too much live, like That Girl Is You and what else? Come Tomorrow. I really don't like those songs. I get Dave is older and his writing has changed, but that the Come Tomorrow is probably one of the most disappointing songs. Great message, bad writing. But the simplicity and how he's writing now is just how he feels. He's writing how he feels, but Come Tomorrow is trash as far as how it was written, in my opinion. So there we go. Happy anniversary to Everyday 20. Every day. It's the happy 20th anniversary to Dave Matthews Band studio album. Every day. All day, every day. I don't know if anyone is actually on. I see two people, but if anyone has any thoughts or questions, feel free to drop them. Hoping to get this thing again back, getting the people we had back a couple years ago to chime in and share on Saturday night streams. But and again, I'm doing things to hopefully get these videos better for you guys. Present the content in a higher quality. Starts with this mic, the camera, some better video editing software that I'm in the process of getting to hopefully give you guys a better product. And hopefully we'll have some concerts to talk about soon. I know they may not be the major concerts, but some mid-tier shows, some other stuff, some special stuff from the big bands, maybe on the Sirius XM, and some other, special virtual fests. We'll get some special content from that. Maybe some unreleased shows. Again, Dave Matthews Band dropped one on Sirius XM yesterday. Alpine 03 Night 1. Great show. But that's all I got for right now. It's your boy Conserviz34. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and we could be friends. I'm out. Peace.